Welcome, yogis. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. We have a short, quick, sweet power yoga flow class. Great way to wake up in the morning. As always, please listen to your body, challenge yourself in the ways that work for you, and listen to your body if you need a break or if you need to skip a pose or modify. Today we are going to start standing towards the front of your mat, standing in a nice, tall, strong mountain pose. Hands can be at your heart, or you can open up the arms next to your sides. I want you to think about drawing all your strength up away from the ground. So you're going to draw the tops of the shins up, draw the kneecaps up, engage the front of your legs. Draw the belly button in and up, supporting your lower back, taking any extra sway out of the lumbar spine. Continue to grow tall through the thoracic spine, rolling the shoulders away from the ears and drawing the shoulder blades down the back. And then reach through the crown of the head, making sure the chin is parallel with the ground or maybe just slightly tucked in. And breathe, feeling a nice, strong mountain pose. Maybe challenge yourself and close your eyes. Notice how a simple change like that can really change how you feel in the pose. One more breath. And feel free to keep the eyes closed as we bring the hands to our heart center in prayer. And on your next inhale, sweep the hands up and over the head, reaching for the sky, and then exhale, dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Hands can come to your shins as you just start to warm up. And on the next inhale, rise all the way up. Hands back to your heart center. Inhale, find lots of length. Exhale, dive forward, rounding at the last moment. And then inhale, back to flat. Exhale, round. Inhale, sweep all the way up, warming up the legs as you move from mountain to forward fold. Inhale again towards the sky. Exhale, fold, forward bend. Inhale, flat back. And this time on your exhale, you can jump or step to plank, depending on how warm you are. And we're going to flow through our first vinyasa, coming through chaturanga, releasing the body to the ground and inhaling to cobra. And then on an exhale, pushing back to down dog. Take a deep breath here. And on your exhale, jump or step the feet forward, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, squeeze the core as the hands come back to center. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release. And again, jump or step to plank. This time as you flow through chaturanga, we're going to keep the knees lifted and inhale up to up dog. You can always stick with cobra if that's better for your back. Exhale, use the abs to transition to down dog, just staying there for a breath. And then exhaling, making your way back to forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold, relaxing the head and neck. Inhale, flat back, reach through the crown of the head and release. Back to plank, flowing through chaturanga, inhaling back bend of your choice, and then exhaling over the toes, coming to down dog. This time we're going to pick up one foot on the inhale and exhale, sweep it all the way through, dropping the back knee to the ground and coming up into a low lunge, hands reaching to the sky. Hips square to the front of the mat, opening up the hip flexor of that back leg. And then release the hands back down to the ground and step to plank, flowing through chaturanga. Inhaling up dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. Opposite foot picks up, hips stay square, reach through the heel, and then exhale, sweep the foot all the way through, making sure that you have enough room that when you drop the back knee, the front knee is still right on top of the ankle. If your front knee is protruding across the toes, then wiggle that front foot forward. Hands come back down to the ground, stepping to plank, and exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, down dog. Staying in down dog just for one quick breath before we exhale, jump the feet back to forward fold, and inhale, rise all the way up to mountain. Told you it was a bit quick today. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Notice the fingers get a little closer to the ground as you get more warm. On an exhale, jump back to chaturanga. Inhale, if you're going with straight arms to up dog, knees should be off the ground. Exhale, down dog, and right away pick up one foot. Exhale, bring it through. This time we're going to keep that back knee off the ground, coming into crescent pose. If you need to, you can bend the back knee. That will take some of the intensity out of the hip and allow you to lengthen the lumbar. Release all the way back down to the ground, flowing through chaturanga, inhaling up dog or cobra, exhaling down dog. Opposite side. Reach the foot to the sky, and then on an exhale, sweep it all the way through. Find crescent pose. Bending that back knee if you need to, making sure that your abs are staying strong so you don't overarch in the lower back. On your next exhale, release the hands back down to the ground and flow through your vinyasa. Again, if up dog is too much for your back, keep the elbows bent and the knees and the hips resting on the ground. From down dog, we're going to exhale, jump or step the feet forward, forward fold. And then inhale, rise up with a flat back. Exhale, hands back to your heart center. Inhale. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, half lift. And release, jumping or stepping to plank and flowing through your vinyasa. Really using your core to transition to down dog, not your hips or your arms. Inhale, one foot comes up. Exhale, bring it all the way through. And we will start in crescent pose. Find your balance here. And then shift your weight forward. Hands go behind, airplane pose. Your chest is just hovering above that front leg. And then reach the hands back to the front and step forward into warrior three. If this is too intense for you, you can keep the hands by your hips in airplane mode. Both variations now are going to bring their hands to a T, and we're going to twist into revolved half moon. So really try to use your core to keep the arms open and wide and moving simultaneously, one to the ground, one to the sky. On an exhale, go ahead and release the floating leg back down to the ground so that you're in a twisted variation of crescent pose. And then release the floating hand to the ground and exhale, flow through your vinyasa. Opposite side. Inhale first, one leg comes to the sky, nice and long line of energy through the leg. Exhale, bring it through and find crescent pose first. Find your balance. No rush here. Shift forward to airplane arms, making sure you're not resting on the front leg. Gaze goes out a little bit in front of you, and on an exhale, step forward into warrior three. It's okay if you wobble. Find your balance in Warrior 3 and open up the arms to a T, and then try to keep the arms open as you tilt one hand to the ground for revolved half moon. So you should be twisting towards the standing leg. Back leg is strong, staying parallel to the ground. Gently exhale back to that twisted variation of crescent pose. And then release the floating hand to the ground and inhale to plank to flow through your vinyasa and catch your breath for one long, strong breath in down dog. On your next exhale, go ahead and jump back to the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, prayer. Inhale, try to find more and more length every time you reach to the sky. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. And release, jumping or stepping back to chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, hips push back, down dog. Reach through the tailbone and inhale, one foot comes up. Exhale, squeeze the core and walk that foot to the front of the mat, finding crescent pose. Inhale, find lots of length in the spine and keep the length as you shift forward as though you are rolling over an imaginary block or tire, bringing both hands to the inside of the foot and coming into lizard pose. Now you can stay on the hands or you can come down onto the elbows, or if you have a block handy, elbows can come to the block. Try to keep that front knee high to the sky. And now we're going to challenge ourselves. We're going to do a few push-ups here. Maybe not as challenging as regular push-ups because you have some of the weight on that front leg. One more push-up and then walk that front foot to the opposite edge of the mat and drop the knee out to the outside corner so that you're in pigeon pose. Now, because you walked your foot out to the outside edge of the mat, this might be a little intense. You can bring the foot closer to the hips or intensify more by bringing the hands to the sky. When you bring the hands to the sky, that will engage your back muscles. Go ahead and release and come back to plank. Exhale through a vinyasa. And we will do it on the other side. Inhale, opposite foot comes up. Reach through the heel, one straight line from heel to wrists, and exhale, bring the foot all the way through. Crescent pose first. Keep the length as you fold forward to the inside of the knee to come into lizard. You can also always drop that back knee if that feels better for you. Take a moment to breathe with your hands on the ground before you shift into a more intense version. Maybe bringing the elbows to the ground, continue to reach through the spine, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then when you're ready, come back up onto your hands for our push-ups. Now you can keep your hands on the inside of the foot, or you can wrap your hand around the outside of that front foot if that gives you a little bit more range of motion. One more push-up, and then we're going to walk our foot over to the opposite edge of the mat, drop the knee, and come into pigeon. You can fold forward if that feels good, or you can create the strength in your back by lifting the hands towards the sky, drawing the shoulder blades down the back, and then release and step back to plank, flowing through another vinyasa. Once you're in down dog, we're just going to stay there for a moment. If you need more time, you can always pause and rest in down dog. Otherwise, we're going to exhale, jump forward, and then inhale, rise up. Exhale, prayer. Inhale, lengthen the body. Keep that length as you hinge forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release the head and neck, and then jump or step. Plank or chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, pick up one foot. Exhale, bring that foot all the way through. And find crescent pose one more time. Again, shift your upper body forward, hands come behind, airplane arms. And then this time we're going to extend the arms forward, coming into warrior three, and then shift the whole body as though it's tilting on an axis to come to standing splits, or whatever variation really allows you to get deep into a fold with that front leg. Bend the knee of the front leg and gently sit back. And we're going to come into a twist. So the bottom leg is bent, top ankle is in front of the bottom knee, and you're inhaling to grow tall through the crown, and then exhaling, twisting, using your elbow on the outside of the knee as just the teeniest bit of leverage. Release and come back to your standing splits. And then soften the knee of the standing leg, stepping back, making your way to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Opposite side. Reach through the heel, split down dog. Exhale, bring that floating leg all the way through. Crescent pose first. Find your balance. Find your stability, and then shift your upper body forward. Hands come behind, airplane arms. On your next breath, releasing the arms back in front, and exhale, step forward, warrior three. Try to keep that upper body perfectly flat as you tilt on your axis, coming into standing splits, pulling your knee to your nose as much as you can, reaching through the floating foot, and then soften the knee of the standing leg. Bring the floating knee in behind and gently sit back. Coming into our twist on the other side. Hooking the elbow around the knee. You can also hug the knee if that feels better, if you don't have quite as much range of motion in your twist. And use your breath. Lengthen through the inhale. Exhale, relax into the twist. Making sure you're twisting with a nice tall spine so there's no pressure on your discs. Release your twist and come back to standing splits, and then gently step back to low lunge and then to plank to flow through your vinyasa. Take one breath in down dog, and then right away, jump or step the feet forward, coming into forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, back to that strong mountain pose that we practiced at the beginning of class. Inhale. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Release and jump or step, flowing through your vinyasa. Back bend of your choice. Everyone using their core to shift to down dog, and then pick up one foot. Exhale, bring that foot all the way through, back to crescent pose. So again, from crescent pose, we're going to release the hands to the inside of the foot. Take a moment in lizard, dropping to your elbows if that feels good. Keeping the knee of the front leg high and squeezing in towards your shoulders. And then make your way back up onto your hands, and you can try an arm balance here, coming into Ekapada Kundinyasana if that's in your practice, or you can just lift the foot of the front leg up and practice engaging the core, strengthening yourself in preparation for Ekapada Kundinyasana. Go ahead and release the front leg back and flow through your vinyasa. And then we'll try it on the other side. And you'll probably notice a big difference side to side depending on your flexibility from side to side. So exhale, bring that foot all the way through, coming to crescent pose on the other side. And then releasing the hands to the inside of the foot, squeezing the knee towards your shoulder, coming into lizard. Maybe staying on your hands or dropping down onto your elbows. Lengthening through the spine. Don't just let the head hang heavy. Try to reach through the crown of the head, lengthening the neck, and then come back up onto your hands. Maybe you hook that hand around the ankle and come into your arm balance, or maybe you just practice building the strength in preparation for the arm balance. Bend that floating leg and step back to plank. Exhale through chaturanga. Inhaling up dog. Exhale down dog. Just one breath in down dog, and then we'll jump forward, forward fold, and inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Inhale, extend to the sky. Exhale, fold. And I know you've been working hard today, so just hang in forward fold, catch your breath. It was a pretty toasty day out there in the sun, so maybe wipe the sweat from your brow. And just relax in forward fold for a few breaths. Relax your head. Let the head hang heavy. Lengthen the back of the neck. And then soften your knees, and we'll step back to plank. And then soften the knees to the ground and come to table. Find a nice flat back, no arch, no curve, and lift one leg so that that leg is parallel with the ground. Lift the opposite arm and try to create a perfect line from ankle to wrist. Exhale, draw the knee and elbow under your body. Inhale to flat. Squeeze the abs on your exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Release the hand to the ground, keep the leg floating, and open up so that your arms are stacked, your hips are stacked, and you're trying to keep the floating leg parallel with the ground. Exhale, we're going to do some crunches here. Same elbow and knee coming together. Much, much more challenging on your balance. You can always kick the bottom foot out behind you like a kickstand to help you balance. Release and come back to plank. You can take a vinyasa if you'd like, or you can just exhale to down dog. And then we're going to pick up that same leg we were just working with, and exhale, bring it all the way through. Drop the back knee to the ground and shift your weight behind for half splits. So the front leg is straight. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, shift back, and start to walk the feet a little farther apart. So notice what is tight on your body. Is it your hip flexors that are tight or your hamstrings that are tight? Whatever feels more tight, I want that to be where you focus your exhale so that you can release as you shift back and forth, slowly making your way from half splits to full splits. You can keep the hands on the ground, or you can prop yourself up with a block underneath the hip of the front leg. From here, you can shorten your stance a little bit, but we are going to shift our weight into the opposite hand of that front leg and open up towards the front leg so that you're in a bit of a twisted split. Now with a shortened stance, you can take kind of a wide-legged side plank, or you can stay in splits and just open up in that twist. Make your way back to half splits, shortening your stance, rocking the hips front and back if that feels good for you. And then once again, we are going to come into pigeon. Same way as before. Walk the foot to the opposite edge of the mat and gently drop the knee to the ground. This time folding forward over the front leg, resting on your forearms, or maybe relaxing the forehead to the ground. Both hips should be equidistant from the ground, so you're not rolling over onto one hip over the other. Make your way back up to upright and walk the back foot in, maybe grabbing a hold with the same hand. You can focus on opening up the quad, opening up the chest, or if you have the range of motion, walk the foot into the elbow, coming into mermaid pose, binding the hands behind your head, but continuing to open up the body towards the front of the mat. Gently release mermaid, and then push yourself up and step back to plank. Soften the knees to the ground again. Find a nice strong table, flat back, abs scooping in and up to keep the spine flat, and then pick up the opposite foot. Don't let the hips roll open. Pick up the opposite hand. Reach through the fingertips, reach through the heel, and then exhale to connect the elbow and knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, round the back. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, squeeze and contract the core. Inhale, lengthen. And then release the floating hand to the ground. Open up the opposite hand to the sky so that you're coming into a modified side plank with the foot lifted, reaching through the hand and then trying to crunch on the other side using those obliques. Kicking the bottom foot behind you if you're really struggling to maintain balance. And then release the hand to the ground and inhale to plank. Exhale, vinyasa optional, back to down dog. Opposite foot reaches up to the sky, split down dog, and then bring it all the way through. Again, back knee drops to the ground, reaching through the heart, and then exhale, shifting half splits. Walking the feet a little farther apart as you shift forward, shine the heart through, and then hip shift back, really straighten and lengthen the hamstring of the front leg. You can shift back and forth as many times as feels good for you, eventually making your way to full splits or whatever version or variation feels challenging for you. Again, you can support yourself with your hands on either side, or you can support yourself with your hands on blocks or a bolster or a block underneath the hip of that front leg. Continue to breathe into splits. Don't overdo it here, especially if you have a tendency to hyperextend. We don't want to hyperextend that front leg. And then again, we're going to go into that twisted variation of the splits. So you can, like me, walk the feet a little closer together so that you're more of a side plank with wide legs, or you can just focus on a twist from the splits, whatever feels good for you. Release your twist and come back to a low lunge and wiggle that front foot over to the opposite edge of the mat, dropping the knee to the ground, coming into pigeon, folding yourself forward, resting on your elbows or relaxing your forehead to the ground. Breathe and release any tension that you feel in the hip of the front leg. If this is too much on your knee, you can always lie on your back for recline pigeon instead, or just walk the foot underneath your body a little bit more. Come back up to upright and maybe pick up the back foot reaching with the same hand. You can stay there and just open up the chest, or you can walk the foot into the nook of the elbow and come into mermaid on the other side. If the hands are bound, try to open up towards the front of your mat. Gently release the hands and push yourself back to plank. Exhale, down dog. Last time in down dog. Take a few breaths here. Reach through the tailbone, drop the heels to the ground. And then when you're ready, we're going to make our way to a seated position. So you can just gently step forward and roll over the ankles, or you can try a jump through. From a seated position, we're going to engage the core and slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time. You can do this with the heels on the ground, or you can challenge yourself by picking them up and rolling down from boat pose. But either way, I want you to really articulate each vertebrae to the ground one at a time. Once the head comes down to the ground, you can bring the knees towards the chest and rock yourself side to side. And then keep one knee squeezed towards your chest and extend the opposite leg out, really focusing on pressing the back of the knee into the ground in order to open up the hip flexors. Take the floating leg and go ahead and bring that foot into the crease of the opposite elbow, and then your knee will go into the crease of the same elbow so that you're cradling the shin and squeezing the shin towards your chest. Gently release and come into half happy baby. So the upper body is relaxing on the ground. You're still actively pressing the back of the knee of the extended leg into the ground and keeping the sole of the floating foot towards the sky. Release your half happy baby and drop that floating knee across the body for a twist. Make sure that you're twisting all the way through your spine, from your lumbar spine all the way to your cervical spine, looking the opposite direction of your knee, and then release back to center. Both knees towards your chest, opposite side, keeping your knee squeezed towards your chest. Extend the opposite leg out. Reach through the heel of the extended foot, and then find that cradle on the other side. Pressing the shin towards the chest, noticing that this looks essentially the same as when we fold forward in our pigeon pose. One more breath. And release the cradle, coming into half happy baby on the other side. Don't lose focus of that extended leg. Continue to press it into the ground as you drop the knee of the floating leg to the outside of the ribs. And then release your hold on the floating leg and drop it across the body, coming into that twist, making sure that you're twisting all the way through the cervical spine, looking in the opposite direction of the top knee. As you breathe, exhale, squeeze the belly button and notice a little bit more range of motion in the twist. Come back to center. And we'll come into full happy baby. So holding on to the outside edge of both feet. The feet are parallel with the sky. The entire spine is connected to the ground. Roll the tailbone towards the ground. Plug your shoulders into their sockets. And then gently release. Take whatever additional time you need to either take an extra pose if that feels good for you, or wiggle and get comfortable in Shavasana. We're all going to meet in Shavasana. So extend the legs out, relax the arms to your sides, and let the body roll open. So imagine a center line that's splitting your body lengthwise in half, and you're just peeling open from that center line. I know today was pretty quick and pretty challenging, so bring your focus to your breath and notice that as you relax here in Shavasana, your breath starts to slow and come back to normal. Close your eyes if it feels good to put, a bag of heated beans on your eyes or a towel, something to help them stay closed comfortably without you having to focus on that. That's great. And then stay here as long as you'd like. Melt into the ground and take some time to thank yourself for your practice. Recover, relax, and hopefully go about the rest of your day rejuvenated. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Stay as long as you'd like in Shavasana. Namaste.